Okay, let's talk Intro to Woodworking with Amy Bodkin. I am so excited about this class because you are approaching it from a different angle, handicrafts from a developmental point of view. I love it. So tell us all about the class and what to expect.
So I love handicrafts because it's hands-on, and I've always loved things that are visual and hands-on. And it's been something that's been a very important part of our family culture. We've got things that we've made out of wood, out of metal, out of fabric, out of yarn, out of fats, all kinds of stuff.
Y'all are very into the handicrafts, I know.
Yeah, if it can be made, we've probably tried it, truth be told. But our kids learn very differently and they have very different strengths. So my daughter, she was using woodworking tools by the time she turned 3. She had her own set with her own saw and her own drill. And this is actually similar to her drill. So this was her hand drill. You put the drill bit in here and crank it. And she was 3 years old. By the time she was 4, she had built a table, and the table stood and lasted for years. Wasn't very pretty, but it lasted, and she designed it herself.
Love it. So, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Now my son, he figured out hammering probably maybe closer to 10.
Okay.
And so what I've learned from having both of my kids, and also teaching more hands-on subjects for kids who have developmental differences, is that it's not about finding some challenging, handicraft project to learn with perfection, to be able to, replicate and make all these absolutely gorgeous gifts. I mean, we are definitely going to be able to make things by the end of this class, and they may end up being absolutely gorgeous. But it's not really about that. It's about developing a relationship with the material you're using. Because when we understand the materials we're using, then we understand what we can possibly do with them. And that leads to creativity. If you understand the properties of different kinds of foods you cook with, then you're able to substitute things in and out. And it's the same way with any other kind of material that we work with. And as we learn techniques, we're able to use those techniques in different ways, because when you really understand the concept of the technique and the materials and the differences, then you can think, I want to make this new thing that I've come up with that no one else has ever made. And you can do that because you've learned about the materials and about different techniques. And so it's providing a lot of freedom at the same time as also teaching skill, because, we are going to be learning how to use a saw. My daughter was using a saw similar to this when she was 3, I think, with parent supervision. That was a good idea.
Yeah.
But, we can do those things. We just, want to make sure we're safe. And if your child needs parent supervision, you should make sure you provide that.
Okay, so parents will need some tools, obviously, for their kiddos. Let's get into all the great tools.
I'm super excited about this. So we bought ourselves a set for my son because he doesn't have his own tool set. My daughter has her own tool set from when she was 3 that's still totally usable. The most important thing with tools with children is you really want small size tools, if at all possible. Unless your children are adult-sized children, but even at that point, still smaller tools are easier to handle, especially when you're first learning. So this is a beginner's tool set that I recommended. However, you can use whatever you happen to have or find, but there are certain required tools. First of all, you have to have safety glasses that fit your child. Every single child needs safety glasses.
Yeah. Good.
You also need a hammer. Now look at this. Now, if your tool sets came with a child's size, like smaller hammer, wouldn't that be so much easier to use around your house? I think it would. And you're going to need screwdrivers. Those are important. And then we're also, these are fun. All right. We're going to learn to use a manual drill. You put the drill bits in down here and then you crank it. Because slower things are easier to handle without injuring yourself.
Yes.
So we're only using manual hand tools.
I like that.
Yes. We also have a coping saw. So this is a nice one. It's not too large, and it's also lightweight, making it easier to handle. But we also need a handsaw, because
That
this
is so
one's used for
cute.
different kinds. I know, it's so cute and
So
small, which makes it very, it's very nice. I like it. And it has a nice little plastic cover over the blade.
Oh.
Yes. So, and then you'll also need, oh, here's our other screwdriver. And then you're also going to need clamps. Any woodworker has to have clamps. These are my favorite kinds personally. They're little, but they'll do the job. But you can never have enough clamps. You'll also need a tape measure. And this kit comes with both metric and standard, or American standard, which is helpful since it depends on where you live as to which one you use.
True.
Now this set also comes with the combination square. You're going to need this. When we build stools and boxes, you do not want a wobbly box or stool. You want it to have right angles. And this is what helps you do that. And then we'll need our drill bits for our drill and a couple more clamps, because you can never have enough clamps. And then we've got a couple extra bonus tools that came in this kit. So we will go over those, but they're not required for this class. This one is a hacksaw. It's used for a little bit different type of things than our coping or our handsaw. And this is super exciting, a chisel and a mallet. So you hammer on your chisel, and then you can chisel out things. It's kind of fun. And it also comes with some pencils. And we're going to go over this some. You use it more for like kind of softening up some of the edges. And then by the time you're done, you have this nice little toolbox.
And so you have that listed, right, on the class page? Yeah, a couple of links to some choices for tools.
The drill and the coping saw came separately, but if you arrange your tools well, you can fit all of that in your toolbox.
Well, and I love also that, you know, no matter where you are in your skill set, that you can join in. And yes, and because it's from a developmental point of view, and it's not necessarily the emphasis on perfection and doing it perfectly, but the emphasis is on the relationship.
Yes.
I love that. So it's the relationship, like you said, with the materials, and the relationship with the people that you're doing the handicraft with.
And the tools.
And the tools, yes. Excellent.
What is this? This is a coping saw. What kind of things do we use a coping saw for? What kinds of teeth on a blade do we want for different purposes? Those are good questions.
Yeah. Okay, so you'll be making different projects. What were some of the projects that
we've got a string art project, a tic-tac-toe game, a stool, a box, which there's a little flexibility on some of these that I'm going to provide some options. Let's see. There's also we've got it's a box that you use for cutting wood, and your saw slides right into the box so that you can cut straight. Okay. So that's one of the projects we're looking at. There's quite a few different ones, and some of them could overlap. Like we'll make a boat and a candle holder. You could also use the box to make a birdhouse or a bird feeder. So those are just the starting places. You can take this wherever you want. So we'll have tons of great gift ideas by the time we get done with this.
I love
Everyone will want a Your Child's Original.
I love it. All right, handicrafts from a developmental point of view. What a wonderful way to experience handicrafts. Thank you, Amy. Everybody go sign up for Intro to Woodworking with Amy.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, thanks.